What's up guys, this is Miasin. So a few days ago, I remember I told you guys I would be making a video on each of the new decks from Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem, and I failed miserably because it's been a while since my last video on one of those decks and it was Punk. But today I'm bringing you my Gem Knight Mitsurugi combo video and deck profile. I think this deck is extremely good, actually much better than what people believe it is. However, it obviously doesn't have erasable cards in it, so that's the drawback that it has. It's not like it can inherently break Detonator and stuff like that with X-Razor Dumping Aggregator. Otherwise, I think the deck would have been potentially one of the best decks, but it does conflict a lot because you're summoning a lot of links, a lot of fusions. But yeah, this deck is really good into a lot of floodgates. Like Dimensional Barrier doesn't really bother this deck too much because you can easily pivot it into like any other kind of like sub-engine. And because of the fact that you're also playing Mitsurugi, there's even more pressure that you can apply on your opponent. So I think this deck is remarkable. I'm a big fan of it. And I think, yeah, it should be it should be explored a little more. And also it's very good into hand traps because pretty much every one-card combo is resilient through Nibiru. But anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And also huge shoutouts to my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet, which you can find on my website, yacineygo.com. Very first link at the top of the description box below. And also shoutouts to my sponsors, Supreme Pro at tsx1.com. Please use the coupon code YACIN10 for 10% off. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so combo number one, I have Gem Knight Nephrim and nothing else, or I guess Neprim. So you're going to be normal summoning that, search your Gem Knight Dispersion, which has two effects. So either add a gem monster from your deck to your hand, or if you have a Gem Knight Fusion in your grave, you can basically Brilliant Fusion with this card. It's really stupid, very unfair. But yeah, you're going to be searching the Armadillo off of the Dispersion. The reason why we have to do that is because Gem Armadillo is not a Gem Knight, and this only searches Gem Knight cards. So you search a Gem Knight card that searches you a Gem card, and then this searches you your Gem Knight Holocore. So basically what you're doing is that instead of just going Nephrim into Holocore, you're fueling your graveyard so that you got more Gem Knight cards for you to be able to use the effect of Holocore to negate a potential Nibiru. But also on top of that, you're getting a second level 4 monster in rotation. Or I guess just another body, but it does matter. Anyways, you're obviously going to be summoning the Holocore by dumping the Gem Knight Fusion. Phantom Quartz is going to be summon number 4. And we're going to be using the effect in order to obviously not only search for the Dispersion, but also use the Dispersion to summon Seraphinite. That is going to be summon number 5. And at this point, we have a lot of Gem Knight cards in the graveyard. So this is the first timing where the opponent can Nibiru, and we're just going to be negating it with the Holocore. So it really just doesn't affect you whatsoever. And then, yeah, we can revive back the Neprim from the grave by discarding any card. And then that allows us to, of course, summon the King of the Feral Imps to search the Habakiri. And then Habakiri effects summon the Saji. Get rid of that Habakiri, make sure that we keep a fusion in case the opponent didn't nib us, because this fusion is going to have to stay all the way until the very end. But yeah, at this point we can go, Ritual into the Habakiri, send it the Kusanagi as well as Aramasa, search another Habakiri, which is basically fake card advantage, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, Ritual into Murakumo from the deck, and then revive back the Habakiri to search the prayers, and then activate the prayers. Chiwi Murakumo, summon back either Aramasa or Kusanagi, revive back the Murakumo to search the prayers, and then overlay these two level 4s to make Galen Granite to search Nibiru. So yeah, this combo is making a big board, but it's also like diversifying its array of interruptions because we've got the Holocore in the graveyard. Yeah, right? We got a second one in case like we still had to like negate the first time, which is really cool. But also we've got a search Nibiru and a lot of disruptions on the field. So it's really scary. And then, yeah, obviously make IP Masquerena and then Phantom Quartz into the, I think the name is Diamond Dispersion. There you go. And then we can use its effect to summon 3 non-Ruck, well, up to 3 non-Ruck Gem Knight monsters from the graveyard and or extra deck by ignoring their summoning conditions. But then we're locked under fusions only from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is really frustrating. However, if we want to go for like a push and OTK with this card, it really doesn't take much for you to kill your opponent. So that's the cool thing that you can do. And yeah, you're getting a lot of card advantage. You're negating like your opponent's Nibiru, and this is like 6 disruptions or something if I recall correctly. So you can go IP into SP by using the Aquamarine, and then Aquamarine can also bounce back a card the opponent controls whenever it's sent from the field to the grave. Well, as a matter of fact, it has to. It's a mandatory effect. So it's not going to be missing the timing when it's going to be used as a link material. And then we've got obviously the Holocore in the grave. We've got prayers into the Murakumo, which is 2 disruptions on its own because it rips a card from the opponent's hand, but also is going to be regeking everything. And then we've got the Harbinger to negate a spell. So yeah, that's 1, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, so a 7. And then Nibiru. So yeah, 8 disruptions off of one single card that can beat Nibiru. Honestly, I think that's really fantastic. Okay, so combo number 2, we're going to be showcasing Habakiri and nothing else, but if you've got nothing else, then you need Night Sword Serpent. I'm gonna say this right now, but if you have something else, then you don't need Night Sword Serpent. But honestly, Aramasa kind of sucks in this deck, so if you want to, you can even replace Aramasa with Night Sword Serpent, but it's gonna make the deck slightly less consistent because then instead of having 16 starters, you have got 15 starters, so it's gonna decrease the consistency level of the deck by around 1 something %. But yeah, obviously the very start of the combo is just Mitsurugi comboing, and this is where it's gonna get very interesting. So we're going to be overlaying these 2 level 4s to make Gallon Granite, and the beauty about this deck, and the thing that I love so much about it, is that if you've got 2 level 4 gem monsters on the field, you make King of the Feral Imps to get into your Mitsurugi combo. However, if you start with only Mitsurugi cards, you make Gallon Granite to search Gem Armadillo, and I love this so much. It feels fantastic. And then obviously this is searching the Hollow Core is dumping the Gemini Fusion, and then link off into Phantom cards. You see the synergy, it's so cool. And then yeah, fuse for the Seraphonite by dumping a second Hollow Core as well as the Nephirim. This is so disgusting, look at this. Nephirim effect pitch the useless Habakiri, so even the fake card advantage still actually does something. And then Nephirim is going to be searching for another Dispersion, link off your 2 monsters just to give yourself some space. We have so much money that we actually have to like link off our monsters just so that, you know, we can go Nephirim extra normal summon for the Armadillo, and then Armadillo search a useless Nephirim potentially for next turn, whatever, overlay for your 2 level 8s for Dragaluxion. Just in case you're wondering, why do we have to go into Dragaluxion instead of just going Harbinger straight away? The only reason for that is because we need to get the Murakumo in the graveyard so that prayers can revive back. Honestly, that's the only real reason. And then yeah, overlay for Baguska if you want to, or this could also be like a Daigusto Emerald, or I don't know, like obviously Dweller is banned, but if you can think of another rank 4, go for it. Because, you know, Baguska is shutting down your own Harbinger, but it's not the end of the world because you're making a lot of like really scary disruptions. So we've got the IP into SP, as well as Baguska, the Hollow Core in the graveyard. We don't have the ability to search Nibiru because we have to search Armadillo off of the Gallon Granite instead. And if the opponent clears the Baguska, then the Harbinger is live. So that's the only interruption that is turned off by Baguska. Apart from that, I mean, you still have, you know, 3 other disruptions, you know, IP into SP, as well as Hollow Core. So it's a very scary board for sure. And let's get into combo number 3 now. Okay, so this is basically Exodia. It's literally the 5 pieces of Exodia in one single card, because Brilliant Fusion can single-handedly beat both Imperm and Nibiru, which is very, very unfair. It's really stupid. But look at this. Brilliant Fusion in this deck no longer has to send Gemini Garnet. This is so stupid. I can't believe that you get to send like powerful cards to summon good monsters off of Brilliant Fusion. Like we had to wait until 2025 to finally be able to do this, but I swear to God, if Brilliant Fusion goes to 3 now, this deck is actually a problem because Brilliant Fusion is like the sacky card that you can actually access. There is a way to search Brilliant Fusion in this deck, but it's really shitty because it locks you under fusions only, and obviously Gem Knight is not good as a Gem Knight deck, but rather as a deck that does a lot of non-Gem Knight things, because the fusion monsters, they don't interrupt the opponent. They're just a lot of like big beat sticks, or you FTK the opponent, but it conflicts with Dispersion and Nephirim. But yeah, look at this. So you summon the Diamond Dispersion, which its effect doesn't matter, who cares, and then you revive back the Nephirim by discarding a card, you get Imprimed, your opponent has to. Otherwise, what happens is that you can go into the Armadillo. Armadillo can search Gem Knight Hollow Core, and then, I mean, obviously we sent like the second one, but you could have sent like another monster, and then we can go summon Hollow Core, and then we negate the Imperm anyways. Or we can just go like, we accept it, and then we play from there because we still have the Phantom Courts and stuff. We're going to be linking off into Phantom Courts now, and then search the Dispersion. Dispersion searches the Armadillo, and then fuse into the Seraphonite. And that was summon number 3, and then this is summon number 4. Summon number 5 is the Armadillo, and then we're going to be searching for the Nephirim, and we also get another normal summon off of the Seraphonite, which helps a lot. And if the opponent tries to nib us, we can just go negate with the Hollow Core. And then from here on out, it's full Mitsurugi combo, regardless of like the fact that our opponent had like 2 hand shops before. It's really stupid. It feels very unfair that you get to do all of that with one single card through an Imperm on your starter. It actually hurt a lot, because otherwise, like, we would have been able to do even more. And also, the Nibiru just gets like fully checked. It's not even like we have to like play through it. It's just we straight up just negate it completely. And that's one thing that I think if you don't really like playing through hand shops, like, well, through Nibiru a lot, this deck is like perfect for you because you're just going to be ignoring the card fully. So yeah, the end board is IP into SP, Harbinger, search Nibiru because we made Gallon Granite, And then we've got prayers into Murakumo. So that's a very, very respectable board off of one single card through 2 hand traps. Not a lot of decks can really do this in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not gonna lie, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Alrighty, for the deck profile, and I'll be straight up honest with you, I think this might be the best deck list of Gem Knight Mitsurugi you can find on the internet right now, because I am maxing out on all the juice cards that are really good without creating like bad redundancy, while also playing a lot of non-engine. I'm sure there are like some minor ways to like tweak this just a little further. Like, if you want to cut, like, Armadillo to 1, you can, because it's a rock monster, so it's searchable by Galen Granite, and it's also another normal summon, I guess you can argue. And then if you want to play some other non-engine instead, you can also do that for sure, but you can't play, you know, the broken Dominus Impulse, unfortunately, even though you're playing Mitsurugi cards, because Neprim is, and also Armadillo are both light and earth, so it just doesn't make sense, and also Phantom Quartz is earth, unfortunately. But apart from that, I mean, we're still playing the best non-engine for the most part. But yeah, for the starters, we're playing 9 Gem Knight starters. So 3 Neprim, 3 Dispersion, 2 Armadillo, and then 1 Brilliant Fusion. If you draw any of these cards, I mean, you're playing through hand traps super, super, super easy. But then there's also 7 Mitsurugi starters. So 3 Habakiri, 3 Prayers, as well as 1 Aramasa. And sometimes, you know, you don't necessarily draw like the most optimal combination of cards, but you can still normal summon a Chummy, and then use 1 Mitsurugi monster that you special summoned off of, you know, like Prayers, for example. And then you can make like a rank 4, like Galen Granite, whatever, which obviously, like, if you don't have access to, like, a way to normal summon again, then it's not going to be great, but it's very easy to get, like, multiple normal summons in this deck. But yeah, so we're playing 16 starters, like I said, you know, 9 plus 7, and then we also have, like, the Murakumo and Mitsurugi Ritual, which can be a 2-card combo, or Saji with either Murakumo or Ritual, or even like Kusanagi, right? That's also like a 2-card combo if I recall correctly. And then, yeah, 2 Holocore as well as 1 Gem Knight Fusion. This is a no-brainer because Gem Knight Fusion has to be played in your deck. Even though you're never going to be actually using this as a real spell card, you're not activating this card. You're really just foolishing it from the deck to the graveyard with a Holocore so that the Dispersion becomes broken. Otherwise, it really just doesn't do anything. Honestly, otherwise, I wouldn't even play this card. It actually sucks. Like, this is not a real Gem Knight deck. It's a deck that plays Gem Knight cards to do non-Gem Knight things. It's really just, like, the best way to play this deck. My bad. Like, Fusion Summoning in 2025 for Gem Knight monsters, it's not the same thing it used to be. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the engine. Then obviously for the non-engine, 3 Fua, 3 Brillia, 3 Astri Jewel, 3 Imperum, 1 Nibiru because it's searchable, and then Cobb at the Graves. So we are playing 17 non-engine with 16 starters. I think that's really respectable. And then Holocore is also like it's an extender. It's not like it just does nothing for you. So if you have like Holocore and, you know, something, maybe you get to play a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's not like it sucks completely. And if you want to, you can also play like 1 Holocore, 1 Armadillo, and then maybe look into other things, but then your deck becomes a little tight. So it becomes like a little too minimalistic. It can still work though. I'm not saying it won't. But yeah, anyways, for the extra deck, 1 Gem Knight Master Diamond Dispersion. This, I mean, it's really just to summon a lot of beat sticks, but it doesn't really hurt the opponent all that much. 1 Aquamarine, which, I mean, it's not really a huge disruption, but it still does something. When you link it off with IP to make SP, it just bounces back a card the opponent controls. That's pretty much it. It doesn't really do much of anything else. Same for all the other Gem Knight monsters that we can't play, because we can only summon non-rock, so it's not even like we can summon the ones that burn. But yeah, 1 Lady Rose Diamond doesn't do too much, but it's not garbage. It's at least one of the best ones that you can summon. Prismora is also not too bad. I mean, you can actually pitch the Gem Knight Fusion from the hand in order to start, you know, destroying your opponent's board and stuff. 1 Seraphonite, which, I mean, that's also kind of like a no-brainer. This is, like, by far the best one. It's the only one that actually has a real effect that we care about. But there's no level 4 Gem Knight Fusion monster, unfortunately. That would have been so broken. Anyways, 1 Baguska, 1 Galen Granite, 1 King of the Feral Imps, 1 Dragoluxion as well as Harbinger, and then 2 Phantom Quartz, SP, IP, and Zilophonia Gorgon, because sometimes you just look at that Phantom Quartz and you're like, bro, you're completely useless. I wish I could, like, turn you into, like, something else. And Zilophonia Gorgon is, like, the best Link 3 that I can think of, because that actually has a real legitimate, like, floodgatey effect. 40 cards in the main, 15 cards, of course, in the extra deck. And for the idea section, there is the Nemesis package that I showcased on my last video before. I think it's really good. You can definitely cite it for sure. So 1 Banshee, 1 Flag, 1 Protoss. And then if you want to have a search target off of Dragoluxion, the best one for you would be Tachyon Spiral Destruction. So this one, it's a quick play spell that can revive back a dragon number monster in your grave in defense. So after you go IP into SP, you can actually link off Harbinger, And then you can go Tachyon Spiral Destruction to revive back Harbinger because it is treated as a proper Xyz summon off of the effect of Dragoluxion, so you can legally revive it back. So I think this is like the best search target. The other cards are not really activatable. I mean, some of them are, but they're not like fantastic because you would need like another Xyz monster, and it's just like, why would you rely on all of that? You know, it's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, Underworld Goddess, I mean, it's an out to like Liger Dancer and stuff, but realistically, if your opponent summons Liger Dancer, you probably lose anyways. It's not like your opponent will let you summon Underworld Goddess, you know? The Foolish Burial so that you can send Neprim, but it's very redundant. It doesn't do anything else, so I don't really recommend. And then Cross Out and Talent, I mean, you can always play them. And Gemnite Quartz is the interesting card that you can use going second to set Brilliant Fusion from your deck, but then it just makes the deck really awkward because you can't summon any non-fusions for the rest of the turn. Actually, that is not true. You can only summon Gemnite monsters for the rest of the turn, so you can still summon Phantom Quartz, which is fine, but it's still shit. Like, you can OTK, that's about it. And then finally Amethyst, which you can summon off of the Diamond Dispersion, and it's not too bad if you can find a way to trigger it on the opponent's end phase if you play against back row decks, because whatever it's sent from the field to the grave, you return back all set spell and shop cards on the field to the hand. So if your opponent goes like, okay, set 5 pass, and then a lot of them are like board breakers like Karma Cannon, and then, you know, Floodgates and stuff, if you can find a way to do this on the opponent's end phase, because obviously IP into SP, it can only be on the opponent's main phase. So if you just bounce back cards just so that he can do it again, it's really stupid, obviously. So the goal is to like find a way to just randomly do this on end phase, but I couldn't find anything with like the cards I was currently playing. If you can find a solution for that, then let me know in the comment section. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. And also let me know how you feel about Gemnite Mitsurugi. Do you think it's a sleeper top tier competitive deck? I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.